Okay. Hello, this is Justin Fields. I'm one of the school counselors at Hebron High School, and I'm joined by Dr. Jessica Robinson, our college and career counselor, who also works for Collin College. This is actually a re-recording of our dual credit presentation. The original presentation was on the evening of March the 1st. We had a technological problem, so that recording of that meeting didn't get captured, so we are re-recording this now. The reason I'm letting you know that is for people who were in attendance at the March 1st meeting. We are going to address as many of those questions that we got during that time during our presentation today. This presentation will likely be briefer, but will include all the same information and will be posted on the dual credit website for Hebron High School. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Dr. Robinson, and she will begin with our description of what dual credit is. After she's completed with that, we will walk through the schedule and proposed classes for Hebron for next school year for dual credit. And then we will go through the steps of how to register and pay for dual credit classes at Hebron. And then we'll close with a few just reflections and things to think about. All right, Dr. Robinson.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fields. So dual credit is a program that Hebron offers that allows the same course to be used simultaneously to earn high school and college credit in the same class. Dual credit differs a little bit from AP in that Collin College professors come onto Hebron High School's campus, and the grade for the class, as long as it is a passing grade, will give the student credit at the end of the semester at both the university as well as at the high school in the same class. There are a lot of benefits to being a dual credit student. We do truly try to keep these classes as small as we can. Students, because they are Collin College students as well as Hebron High School students, they get great educational support from both their Collin College professors as well as other support services on Collin College's campus, and we will go over that later on in the presentation. And I really truly believe that this begins students having an experience to experience the college environment and rigor of the college courses while they are still in high school. You truly do begin a college transcript as a result of being part of the dual credit program, and our cost savings as a result are huge. So how much will you save? Collin College per one 3-credit hour course is $188. At Hebron, we pair our dual credit courses. So for a semester, you are looking at $374 for 2 of the 14 university core classes. The next 2 least expensive universities in the North Texas area are the University of North Texas and the University of Texas at Dallas, and you can see that those figures represented in the top part of this screen are already quite a bit more expensive than that $188 fee per course. Dual credit courses are transferable to most public four-year colleges and universities in the state of Texas. They are transferable out of state as well as to private universities. However, it is up to y'all as a family to decide if that's the route you wanted to go and to do that research to make sure that those credits will not only be accepted by the university, but what parts of the degree those dual credit classes will apply to as well. All right, let's get in. Let's talk all about dual credit. We really want to emphasize this slide with our parents and our students who are listening to this presentation. We really want to make sure that dual credit is the right fit for the student. We really want to emphasize that students take this opportunity to learn about attendance and time management. In the university system, it is very different than the high school system, but faculty trust that students know how to manage their own time and that they will communicate with the professor when they have to miss a class. In high school, this means that if students have to miss a class for a band trip, for a sporting event, or if they get sick, those are all counted as absences according to the professor. It is again up to the student to do that communication ahead of time with the professor. Students, you are responsible for the code of conduct for both Hebron and Collin. We expect that you would read both codes of conduct, especially in matters of academic integrity. and other type of behavioral subject matter as well. Again, by being a dual credit student, you are agreeing to be both part of Hebron's system as well as Collin College's system. We do expect that you would demonstrate a certain maturity for the subject matter and the college classroom environment. Professors are entitled to their academic freedom. A lot of classes for dual credit are discussion based, and you find that you might disagree with your colleagues in that discussion. That is completely fine. We would just ask that you would have a maturity to sit in the same room with someone who you may disagree with and learn to have an intelligent and interesting conversation with them about their point of view, even though it may be different than your own. We also do have different drop and withdraw deadlines if you do find that you are in over your head and the class is too difficult. That is completely fine, but you will need to meet with me as well as your counselor and communicate with your professor if you need extra assistance or if you do need to get removed from the class. A pro college tip is the night you get your syllabus to outline it, understand it, read it, highlight it up, and also send an email to your instructor before the class begins so that you can make sure that you guys are on the same page and the expectations are clear. Your syllabus functions as a contract between you and your dual credit professor, and it really does outline the work in terms of homework and out of class work that you're expected to do throughout that semester. Dr. Fields, would you like to include?
Yes, I would. So a couple of things to emphasize with that is really to highlight the separation between Hebron High School and Collin College in some ways during the dual credit experience. So yes, while all of our students are Hebron High School students, when they are a dual credit student, they also become a Collin College student, and in those classes, they are subject to the rules, the schedules, the grading policies, and attendance policies of Collin. Those essentially replace Hebrons. So a couple of examples of that. Usually the dual credit classes in Collin's academic calendar, those classes usually begin a week to two after the start of the Hebron High School calendar. Classes also end usually a week or two prior to the end of the LISD calendar in the terms. So that highlights the necessity for students in dual credit to have transportation available for them so that they have a way to arrive at school late and also to leave school early during those times when Hebron is still in session but Collin is not. When a student is in a dual credit class and their dual credit course is not in session, students are expected to be off campus during that time. This is also important on a weekly basis when our dual credit classes are not in session on Friday. So again, students are expected to be off campus and not expected to be in the library or in the cafeteria. They need to be off campus during those times. Also, while LISD has its own attendance policy, Collin would as well, and that policy can be different depending on the courses, where professors have minimal expectations about when students or how many times students are allowed to be absent before that impacts their grade. We do have students that are in all sorts of organizations, team sports, bands, performing arts groups, ROTC, that participate in dual credit and do so successfully. I would think that one of the things that would be important to do is for anybody who has a lot of absences for school-related reasons to make sure that you address those with your professor at the very beginning of a term. Introduce yourself, tell them that, for example, I'm a part of the band program, my band has competitions or we have travel on these days that's going to have school business requiring me to miss school, and make a plan for how those things can be worked around. Similarly with grades, different professors will have different grading scales and different grading requirements in their courses where, for example, exams or grades or quizzes or papers may have a major emphasis on grades and a major impact on grades different from what they experience in Hebron classes. One of our member of my counseling team who had a student of her own that was a part of dual credit said that her child several years ago had a professor that would award either a 0, a 50, or a 100% for some major assignments. Now that doesn't happen in every example, but that was the policy in that class. And so a student really needed to be aware of that rule and that policy in each specific class and how those assignments would affect their grade. So those are additional things to keep in mind as you consider if dual credit is the right choice for you and for your student.
Absolutely. High school and college are different. And the main point from this slide is that up bullet point there. High school is mandatory, and it usually is free unless your performing arts group or your sport or something like that has extra fees attached. University dual credit is voluntary, and it does cost money. So students, I want you to get as much out of your investment as you can. You will invest yourself academically, socially, as well as financially into this experience. And we want you to make every single dollar count as well in that investment that you are making. We do have a Federal Educational Rights and Privacy Act. It's similar to the HIPAA law that governs patient and physician confidentiality. This is a federal law that ensures privacy of student educational record. And parents, this is important for you to listen to. This begins when the student starts college, regardless of age. Yes, I understand that many of your students are under 18, but as a Collin official, I cannot speak with you about the specific details of their grades, their course schedules, their test scores, or other personal or financial or academic matters. There is a way to get around this. Students, this has to be your decision. It's a form in your CougarWeb account, which we'll get into in a bit here. And if you input your parents' names and click that you agree that they can have certain types of information from me, then I can give that to you. However, I do think this is a great opportunity for students for you to learn the college process and take on these new responsibilities. It does have to be your choice, students, to put your parents on that form. Students will also, going along with the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, students will also need to use their Collin email to communicate with their instructors. I know you guys are not as used to that, but that is also located right in your CougarWeb. Students have to complete the entire Collin admissions process, so you do have to apply to Collin for all you new students and parents out there for dual credit. You also must always obtain permission from the high school counselor before your enrollment. You have to meet college readiness standards as designed by our TSI, the Texas Success Initiative, and we will talk about PSAT and STAR here in a minute as well. And you do, as you go throughout the program, remember this means you are a dual credit student. You will be both a high school student of Hebron as well as a college student of Collin College, and you have to meet both institutions' academic requirements to continue semester after semester in this program.
I do want to highlight, yes, if we could go back also just to that slide. We are going to get a little bit later into the importance of the TSI, and I want to clarify that for students who have filled out the interest form and who have expressed an interest in taking dual credit classes, we will be reviewing your eligibility. We generally find that many of our students that are interested in dual credit have already met eligibility criteria through either a PSAT score or a STAR score or a grade in a math class. We will review all of those things and then make sure that we alert students to tell them if they need a TSI exam. We're going to offer that on our campus in a few weeks in March, so we will provide that information later. But in terms of eligibility, that's something that a student could look at already and look at in their College Board account, for example, for PSAT or SAT or ACT scores, or they could also look at their STAR scores as well, I believe in their Skyward's Family Access portal. If we go to the next slide with Dr. Robinson, we are going to highlight now several of the classes that we offer through dual credit. We're going to get in a moment to the schedule for next year, but I want to clarify just for the people that are new to dual credit what the course offerings are. You're going to see on this table the Collin course name. So behind every Hebron class, dual credit class that a student takes here, there's actually the Hebron class, and then there's also the Collin course name, or what they're taking the Collin equivalent of. So you're going to see those in those columns, and you're going to see that the classes are broken down by the classes that are just for juniors, the classes that are only for seniors, and then the classes that both juniors and seniors can take. So just for juniors, the most popular course offering we have is what we refer to as dual credit humanities. This is a class that offers the equivalent of U.S. history credit and English 3 credit at Hebron High School. Students will take this program for 36 weeks or the entire school year during one period. And in that period, they will have dual credit English and history every other day for the course of the entire school year. So that when a student completes this, they'll have 1 credit of English 3 and 1 credit of US history. On the Collin side of things, they're going to be participating in 4 separate classes during this experience. English 1301 and History 1301, the first half of English and US history are offered in the fall semester, and then English 1302 and History 1302, or the second half of those classes, is offered in the spring semester. So again, when a student completes this class, they're going to earn 2 credits total from Hebron High School and 12 credits total from Collin College during this experience. For seniors, there is another very popular course option, which is what we call dual credit government and economics. Through this class experience, students will take this for 18 weeks or just 1 semester, and every other day they will take government and economics every other day for the entirety of 18 weeks. When they get done with that experience, students have the chance to earn a half credit of government and a half credit of economics, which completes their graduation requirements for that senior social studies. And then on the Collin side of things, they were going to be earning 3 credits through government 2305 and 3 credits through economics 2301. Also, just for seniors, we have what we call dual credit English 4, which again is made up of 2 classes. And through those 2 classes at Collin, students will earn 1 credit or the equivalent of English 4. Those classes on the Collin side of things are English 2327, which is an American literature class, and then Speech 1311, which is a public speaking course. So again, just like the government and economics, students will take American literature and speech every other day for 18 weeks or 1 semester, and they'll be completed at that point. For these classes, government and economics and the American Lit and public speaking, these are packaged classes, so students have to take all of the components of a class. And furthermore, for the English 4, students have to take or pass both parts of the class in order to earn the full English 4 credit for graduation. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see classes that both juniors and seniors can take. The first is what we refer to as dual credit statistics. This class is equivalent to Math 1342, which is officially titled Introduction to Elementary Statistics at Collin. When students take this class at Hebron, they're going to take that dual credits, the Math 1342 on one day, and then that class is going to be paired with a independent study class of I'm making sure that our recording is still intact. Dr. Robinson, it just stopped and started over again. Okay. So it tells me that it's being recorded. So sorry for those watching. We're just going to navigate this glitch. For dual credit statistics, students are going to take every other day for 18 weeks a dual credit statistics class at Collin, and then that's also going to be alternating with an independent study at Hebron. The independent study math class at Hebron is worth a half a credit, so students, when they get out of this, are earning 1 full credit of math at Hebron. And that independent study course is really meant to be a supportive class for students in statistics, where they get supplemental instruction, they get work time, and a chance to help make sure that their time in that class is successful. Finally, the last option for students, for juniors and seniors, is dual credit psychology and sociology. Again, they take this as a package deal, psychology and sociology every other day for 18 weeks. And when they complete that, students are earning 3 credits of psychology through Collin and 3 credits of sociology at Collin as well. If we can go on to the next screen, you're going to see our dual credit offerings by period for next school year. So you're going to see on the left-hand side, you're going to see the fall course offerings by period, and then this on the right-hand side, the spring course offerings by period. And again, those are broken down in each period by courses just for juniors, just for seniors, and juniors or seniors. The big change for this coming year, or the 23-24 school year at Hebron, is that we are only going to be offering dual credit courses during first and fourth period. There are no longer going to be dual credit courses offered during third period. Collin College, their courses are not matching our bell schedule, and so because of that, our students are not kept in class the full time, and this is a safety and security issue for our campus. And to help mitigate that issue, we are only offering our dual credit classes during first and fourth period. You're going to see for each class a number of seats available. So where you see, for example, at the top for first period for juniors only, the English 1301 and History 1301, that dual credit humanities with 100 seats available, that's 4 sections. And then you're going to see 25 seats per section, and you're going to be able to see that down the line. The most important thing to note is that dual credit statistics is only offered first period in the fall. It has been offered only in the fall in previous years. And then the psychology and sociology is going to be offered only in the spring during first period. Otherwise, it's very likely that there are many options or many periods available for many of the classes. We are going to be doing the enrollment by a first come, first serve based on who completes the dual credit course request form, Google form, which we're going to discuss in a little bit. But this is for you to review, and so students can review this and hopefully prospect out if they know that they're going to have a conflict, and that can help with their planning. So, for example, if you are a volleyball player at Hebron, that volleyball class is only offered during first period. So that would mean that a student would want to request a class during fourth period. Similarly, for some things like, again, volleyball for seniors, since it's their last season, they only have volleyball during first period in the fall. So that means that a student could also opt to plan for a first period class only in the spring, like psychology and sociology if they wanted to. So students can review this and hopefully help to inform themselves about what they want to request. For students that are unsure about, for example, what band they might be placed into and how that could affect their period, we ask that students make their course requests in the Google form based upon what ideally they would like to have happen. If, for example, a student thinks that they are going to be in fourth period band and they request a first period dual credit class, well, if they end up getting placed in the first period band class, then on the Hebron side of things, we would likely try and adjust that dual credit class to fourth period on their behalf so that all of the course requests could fit. All right, Dr. Robinson, we can move on from here.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to review some important notes for the dual credit course registration process. Returning students, if you remember, you had to register yourself through Collin College's system. I will now forevermore be registering y'all for your dual credit courses. This means that for you returning students, really all you will most likely need to do is fill out that Google course request form that we will get into in just a second. Students, especially you new students, you are required to remove your holds prior to my registration. That will begin starting on March 31st. We'll get into what holds mean in just a second, but for all you returning students, if you notice a weird hold on your account, please contact me and let me know, and we can work through that ASAP. As Dr. Fields mentioned, courses will be filled out on a first come, first served basis based on the order in which you fill out the dual credit course request Google form. Students, you have to be the ones filling this out. Mom and Dad, we have set the form so that it has to be filled out with someone with an LISD email address. Students, this is your first step into your college journey, and we really do need to see you take accountability for this decision. March 24th, you guys will need to fill out that Google course request form for dual credit. It will close on March 25th, so please make sure you get that filled out ASAP. There are 25 seats per class section. Unfortunately, I cannot cater towards specific requests to be with friends or certain professors, but you must request certain class periods. Parents, this next note is important for you to pay attention to. Registration and payment will occur each semester, not once per year. Even though you only need to fill out that Google form once a year, I will be registering your kiddos into their spring classes in October. That means payment for spring courses will not be due until October, but students will be responsible to pay for their summer and fall courses by May 1st. Now, if any of y'all on this watching this recording are part of the National Free and Reduced Lunch Program, you will not need to pay for your tuition and fees. As I said in the beginning, tuition rates for dual credit are $62 per credit hour plus an additional $2 fee per semester. Again, not per year, but per semester. And since Hebron pairs their courses together for dual credit, we're looking at $374 total if this per semester if students are taking 2 classes at the same time. If they want to double up and take 4 classes, we're looking at 744 total. If the students only want to do that statistics class, then it is 3 credit hours at 188 total. We wanted to be very clear about this and upfront that you pay once a semester, not once a year, and give you an understanding about how much those costs will be for the Collin College tuition. These costs displayed do not include the cost of textbooks, so this is tuition and fees. Textbooks will probably be additional costs after that. Returning students, as I mentioned before, you will need to fill out the dual credit course request Google form. That's in step 5 of our website that we'll walk through after we are done with this presentation. And you will need to verify with your counselor that your dual credit courses are reflected in Skyward. You will not need to reapply to Collin. You will not need to retake the PSAT or STAR test, and you will not need to redo the campus safety training. However, if you do receive an additional hold, please email me so that we can look into that, because that will be a more nuanced situation. Returning students, you're defined as those who took and received a passing grade in a dual credit class during the 2022-2023 academic year. New students, your process is a little bit more complicated, but I can promise you once you get through it, there will be many of these steps that you don't have to do again. First, please make sure you apply to admission for Collin at applytexas.org. This is part of becoming a dual credit student. You need to become a student of both Hebron, which you already are, as well as Collin College. You do need to complete the assigned holds, which I will review in just a moment here. As Dr. Fields mentioned earlier, you will need to meet TSI eligibility standards if that is applicable. Step 4, you also need to fill out that Google form for the dual credit course requests, and then you will also need to pay for your classes.
So as we walk through these, I just want to clarify for each of the steps that we're going to go through for enrollment, there's really going to be 2 different situations, one for the returning students and one for the new students. For the returning students, the process is going to be much, much, much simpler and faster than you've previously experienced. And Dr. Robinson will clarify as we go through each what that's going to be.
Wonderful. So first, this is for new students. You will need to apply for admission to Collin College, and I would suggest doing this ASAP because it takes Collin several days to process your application, and your application has to be processed before your next steps. You create an account. I would highly recommend you to use your personal email address. Once your account has been verified, you start a new college application. You select a 2-year community college as your application type. You select Collin College, the McKinney location. This is the official institutional address for Collin, as well as our initial location. However, your Hebron dual credit professors will be coming to your Hebron High School campus. You will not have to commute to McKinney. Please make sure you also select that you are a dual credit student. It will require a lot less work on the back end than flipping you from a traditional freshman to a dual credit student. Residency and tuition rates are determined based on your answers on the application, so please make sure that you note anywhere possible on the application that you are a dual credit student taking classes right now at Hebron High School. You will receive a Collin ID number, which we call your CWID. CougarWeb username and password, which is Collin's version of Skyward, in 3 to 5 business days after you submit that application. The application is free, and it truly, truly, truly only takes about 15 to 20 minutes, and you will know you're done when you see the confetti on the screen. Rising seniors, and the application will ask you this question as well as that course request form. Rising seniors, current 11th graders, you will graduate in May of 2024, and rising juniors, or you current 10th graders, you will graduate in May of 2025. CougarWeb is Collin's version of Skyward. However, CougarWeb and Skyward do not communicate with each other. So after you apply, you will receive a CougarWeb login 3 to 5 business days after your applications are submitted. You'll also receive a temporary password to your CougarWeb account in a separate email. CougarWeb is your mainframe for all things dual credit and all things Collin College. It has a lot of online trainings. That's where you access your Collin email, ding ding, email your professors only from your Collin email. You'll pay your Collin tuition through this portal. You'll access courses through your Collin Canvas. Again, you do have a Hebron Canvas, but it is your Collin Canvas that dual credit will run through. You can check your grades, your class schedule. We have an amazing online library website and much, much more in there. All right, for new students, how do you remove these holds? Well, what is a hold? Each admission step is listed as a hold, and all steps must be completed prior to me being able to enroll you. A hold prevents you from being registered, so let's go through the main ones. First, your high school must approve all your classes, including those classes that you're taking just on your own for Collin and then university credit. Again, you have to have approval from your high school to make changes to any of these dual credit classes. Dr. Fields, did you want to jump in here and explain a little bit more?
Yes, so the approval process is actually going to take place through this permission form. So when it says you need written permission, that does not mean that you require an email or a letter for each student. In fact, this permission form is actually going to be completed with the help of the Google form that we're going to ask everybody to complete at the end of this presentation. So the information you provide into that is going to automatically complete this permission form and the contents in it, so that that's how that step will be completed.
Wonderful. And the important note here for all you returning students, you will need to fill out that course request form. But for you new students, when you become returning students, if you want to stay on your senior year with the program, you will not need to fill out this permission form again. You fill it out once, and that is your contract with Hebron as well as with Collin. Every year, we will have you fill out a course request form, but again, the permission form will last for the entire time you are in high school. This next hold is the Texas Success Initiative. That is the state of Texas's desired standards for any student, regardless of age, to make sure they are ready academically for these college level courses. We break it up into reading and writing and math, similar to the PSAT or the STAR EOCs. If students would have taken SAT or ACT, they are fully welcome to mail those scores to Collin College's testing center and get out of needing the TSI in that manner. For SAT, students will need to have received a 480 on the evidence-based reading and writing or a 530 on the math. For ACT, they will need a composite score of a 23 and a 19 on the English side or a 19 on the math side. Many of our students, though, have not taken those official tests and cannot give those official test scores to the testing center. That is completely fine. We understand that many students are in this situation because they are waiting to take the SAT or the ACT until their senior year. So we also allow you to waive that need for the TSI as long as you got the following PSAT or STAR EOC scores. For TSI reading and writing, if you want to waive out of that, we need to see a PSAT score of a 460 or higher. If you would like to waive out of that TSI math requirement, we need to see a PSAT math score of a 510 or higher. If you happened to not take the PSAT when it was offered, we would need to see a STAR EOC score on your English 2 of a 4,000 or higher. If you would like to take math-intensive dual credit classes, we would need to see an Algebra 1's EOC score of a 4,000 and at least a final grade of a 70% in Algebra 2. We get a lot of questions about whether or not students need both TSI reading and writing and TSI math to be able to participate in dual credit. You need appropriate scores in either PSAT or STAR EOC or SAT or ACT. You do not need all 4 tests or even 2 of those test scores. The only math intensive course we offer for dual credit is that statistics class. If you only want to take the statistics class, then yes, we will need to see those math scores. If you are not interested in statistics, then we will be looking only at your reading and writing scores. So again, whether or not you need both of those sides of the exam depends on the dual credit class that you would like to take.
And so just to clarify also for people that are new to dual credit, we are going to do our best to review all of the data that we have about students. So for example, we have PSAT scores from the times they took that here at Hebron. We have STAR scores as well. We're going to be looking through the list of students that express an interest in taking dual credit, and we are going to try and eliminate students that have already met these TSI waivers so that we limit the number of people that need to take the TSI. We're not looking to increase the number of tests that students take. And so if you've already met a score at some point, even if you are a rising senior and when you were a 10th grader, your PSAT score was just high enough, we don't need you to take that test again. We're going to make sure we submit that waiver and only identify students that still have to complete the TSI. Like I said, we're going to offer the TSI on our campus on March the 27th at Hebron. And so that's going to be here, and we will need to make sure that students are filling out the dual credit request form by the 24th so that we can make sure we have everything planned. If you do want to take that TSI test, if you need to on your own, you're welcome to take that through Collin as well. You can take it even online, and you can coordinate that on your own. But for those of you that do need it, we're going to offer that test on March the 27th.
Your next hold that will come up is a bacterial meningitis vaccination. This is a federal law that any student who is under the age of 22 must have proof of bacterial meningitis vaccination on file for them to take any type of higher education courses. However, this law only governs the physical, community college, or university environments. If you want to take classes for dual credit only on Hebron High School's campus or online, Collin College will not need to see those vaccination records because you have already turned them in to Hebron High School. That hold will never go away on your account, just in the case that you would want to take a class on Collin's campus physically, ever, in the course of the rest of your high school experience. However, you do not need to worry about turning these vaccination records in if you only plan to take dual credit classes on Hebron High School's campus or online. The one hold that we cannot get around for you is this mandatory campus safety training hold. This is our Title IX diversity awareness hold, and you must watch this campus safety video. It will take you about an hour of time. There will be a quiz afterwards, and you must complete that quiz and be sure to click submit at the end. About 3 to 5 business days after you apply to Collin, you will get a username and an email to the email you applied to Apply Texas with, as well as your Collin ID. You will get a separate email from the admissions office with a temporary password. You will need to use that information to log into CougarWeb, go to the Student tab, and click on Mandatory Campus Safety Training. Again, please get that done ASAP. It will complete and remove the hold at the top of the hour after you complete that video, and that is the one hold that we cannot do anything about. You can also check for additional holds in your account by clicking on that registration tools link, My Profile, and looking in that upper right-hand corner at the hold sign. Hopefully it'll say 0, but if it doesn't, and if it was not one of those 4 holds that we just talked about, then please email me, because that is a different situation that we will need to work through together. Additionally, y'all will all have a high school permission form hold on your account. That is nothing we can do anything about. That is simply meaning that I will be registering you for your classes. You will be responsible for payment by the deadline. There's a holds resolution guide posted on Hebron's dual credit website. We will show you where to look for that. But again, this hold resolution guide is linked in this slide. in case you have any further questions about what a hold could mean. For your dual and concurrent classes, I will be registering you. The high schools will provide me an approved list of students, and I will notify you on March 31st if you were registered successfully. You will have until May 1st then to pay.
I
For
just want,
payment,
and if I
go
could,
ahead.
sorry, I just want to clarify that and emphasize that. So for those of you that have already gone through the process to complete the new Google course request form, which is going to be, we're going to highlight for you very shortly. You are going to have a little bit of a waiting period till when Dr. Robinson can register you on the Collin side of things. And when that happens, then that allows you to be ready to pay. So once you fill out that Google form, there's going to be a waiting period, and stay tuned for communication from Dr. Robinson, then alerting you to let you know that you can go into CougarWeb and pay. It won't necessarily be an automatic or a next day thing.
Absolutely. So getting to how we pay. Again, it is $188 total for one course. We pair our courses together, so we're looking at $354 total for two courses paired together. Remember that tuition is paid per semester, and students who are part of that National Free and Reduced Lunch program will have their cost of tuition waived by Collin College. To pay, you will need to go into your CougarWeb account, click on Student Quick Links, and click on Cougar Pay. Parents, you are also, if your students do not want to put you on their FERPA, you are able to create a third-party payment account, and you can become that third party and still use your credit card. You are also, that is called an authorized user. You are also able to call the cashier's office and give them a credit card number over the phone. I do not have an ability to process payment, so I am not able to do that for you, but if you would prefer to pay over the phone, I am happy to email you the cashier's number as well. We have some wonderful resources on Collin campus. We have a wonderful dual credit website on Collin's homepage where we do list specific information for Hebron High School and Louisville School District itself. We also have a Access office, which is our Office of Disability Services. We call it Access because it is an acronym. We do believe that our students who identify as having some type of a physical, psychological, social, or emotional disability can receive equal access to their educational opportunities. The important part of this, and this is different between high school and college as well as the university system, is that to receive accommodations, a student must self-identify. They also must apply separately for services through the Collin College Access Office, and that is a separate application than what a 504 application would be, or than what their Collin Community College initial application must be. However, the good news is that the first three steps, two of the three steps are already done for you once you become a dual credit student, especially if you are on a 504 plan. First, you do need to apply to Collin College. Second, you do need to present the paperwork necessary to document what services you are asking for. Third, then, the application at that point for the Access Office is quite simple. You then meet with Mrs. Tara Franklin, our Access coordinator. She helps you write some letters to your faculty. And then from there, she helps act as your advocate to those faculty. The difference between high school and college for this is that you have to request accommodations each semester from each professor. Yes, even if you had Professor George for 4 semesters in a row and it was your last one, yes, you will still need, according to Collin's policies, request those accommodations and do that process. But it should be fairly simple if it's your last time doing it. Again, Mrs. Franklin can be reached at access@collin.edu. Dr. Fields, would you like to include any information?
So the biggest thing I want to emphasize is that also, even after you get set up with accommodations, if you're eligible for them, you still need to be able to communicate with your professors about those things. The professors won't necessarily know who you are or if you have accommodations, so that will be still something that will be the responsibility of the student to go to to their professor and let them know about that. Again, this is another example where Hebron High School and Collin College become separate. And so even if a student has a 504 plan or an ARD that they use at Hebron, that does not automatically mean that they're going to get that in those classes. You must go through this access process in order to get those in your dual credit classes.
We have other wonderful campus resources at no additional cost to the student. I know many of you will probably not go onto a physical Collin campus, but I do want to alert you that as a student of dual credit, because you're a Collin student, you have full access to every campus resource that Collin would offer. I especially want to highlight our library, which has a wonderful, wonderful online website. That's the library tab in your CougarWeb. We have online course subject specific tutoring. So if you do get stuck in a certain class, you are welcome to sign up for those Zoom tutoring sessions that are free, no cost to you. We have a math lab that works in person as well as online if you start to struggle in that statistics class. And we have a writing center that can help you learn how to edit those papers in a way that your dual credit humanities as well as your other professors would like to see. This picture just shows our entire team. Collin's goal is to place an individual college and career counselor at all of the districts we partner with. Most of my colleagues are stretched between two schools, but I am here full-time for Hebron, and I get to focus on our lovely Hawks population. Additionally, books are part of the collegiate experience, and it's your responsibility as a college student to purchase those books. Those books will be listed on each of your syllabi. Some of your professors will choose to put together an articles packet instead of a textbook, but again, textbooks are not provided for you according to Hebron's mentality. Textbooks truly are your responsibility. You can get them from the bookstore, and our bookstore will package them for you, and you can stop by one of the bookstores and get some cool swag, get your Collin student ID, as well as pick up your books, or you can order them off of Amazon or Barnes & Noble. I do know our bookstore, however, price matches with Amazon as well as Barnes & Noble. When you go to pick up your books, if that's the way you want to purchase your books, you can also pick up a parking pass and a college ID. Both are free, and your Cougar ID also includes your Collin ID number on it. Again, many of you may not ever drive to a Collin campus, but these slides simply alert you that there are more campus resources available than you think there are. Dr. Fields, you want to go over our important dates and we can go to the website?
Yes. So the first thing to differentiate and ask yourself is, are you a returning dual credit student that's planning to take classes, or are you a new dual credit student that will be starting for the first time? Those statuses are really going to dictate what you do next. If you are a new dual credit student and you are wanting to take classes for next year, the first most important thing that you need to do, if you have not already, is apply to Collin through applytexas.org. The reason is because obviously there's going to be turnaround time and waiting time for things to process, and you want to get those balls moving quickly, and that will help you. After you get your response back from admissions for your CWID, then that will allow you to move forward with requesting your courses through the Google form that we're going to show you very soon. I want to emphasize again that Google course request form is going to be due by March 24th. Many of you have filled out the dual credit interest form, and this was going back several weeks ago. That was really just to help us get to this point where we had a mailing list and people we could communicate with about dual credit. That form, that interest form, is now shut down, and we're moving on to a new and different Google course request form that will take us through registration and payment. We will have, you need to have your TSI completed by March 31st if you're planning on doing dual credit and you need that score. Again, we're going to offer the TSI at Hebron for students that still require it for dual credit on March the 27th. The payment deadline is going to be May the 1st, but we'd encourage you to wrap up those pieces as soon as you can once you're able to pay. And then if you have not completed payment by May 1st, then the Hebron counselors are going to go in to students who have an existing dual credit course request and convert your course request to the Hebron course that you wanted to take instead. Even if you are watching this presentation and you have initially requested dual credit classes, but now you've decided that you don't want to take dual credit anymore next year, you can still fill out this dual credit course request form and indicate that and let us know which courses to change you to so that everything is correct. Dr. Robbins?
Perfect. Okay. Before we go, I just wanted to hover over this slide so you guys get all of our contact information. The first link up there is Collin's Master Dual Credit website. The second piece of information is my information, both my Hebron number as well as my Collin and LISD email addresses. The rest of our presentation is going to focus on reviewing and walking the steps for Hebron's website for dual credit, but we have listed Collin's website for Hebron's dual credit as well. So let me get over there and we can walk through it very briefly, and then we can dismiss for the evening.
Okay.
Here we go.
So the website you're seeing now on your screen is really going to become our home base for the rest of the dual credit process. For those students that are new and returning, this is a great place to go to if you need resources of any kind. What you're going to hear typically from our response when people say they have a question about dual credit is we're going to ask you, where in the process are you? And what we really mean is, which of the steps are you on? We have outlined this process into 7 steps that you can see throughout this website, and we'll walk you through those different things. Already, for those of you that are watching this, you're already on step 2 where you're watching this dual credit presentation. And then at this point, you're going to need to make a decision about whether you want to continue with that, with those courses for next year or not. And again, you're going to see, just like we've said, you would need to apply to Collin if you are a brand new dual credit student. Otherwise, you can move on to completing this on step number 5, this new dual credit permission form. This form, you'll see linked just above this red sentence, is where you will go to formally request the dual credit class by name and by period for next year. Remember, this form can only be filled out by the student from their LISD Google account. Even if you know that you don't want to take dual credit any longer and you've requested a class for next year, this is where you can also go to confirm that you no longer want to take dual credit. After this, you'll see all of the resources to help you with the holds are here, including a link to the Collin College Hold Resolution Guide, and then also information about payment. Truly, this is the one, we intend this to be a one-stop shop for you to get answers and information if you need to, so always check here first. This is where you will be finding the recording of this presentation, and you can also see a copy of the slides that were provided in this presentation as well. Everything should be here, so make sure you check here first to figure out where to go next. Dr. Robinson, do you have any additional items to include?
The only other item I have is that I really want to encourage y'all as a family to figure out the time commitment for next year. Senior year, the college application process really will feel like another class in and of itself because it requires that much of y'all as a family. We want to make sure, again, that you guys are owning the decision to do dual credit, and that means that you really will be in communication with those professors and you really will be reading those syllabi. I think dual credit is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful opportunity, and I am here to support you every step of the way. We just want to make sure that y'all as a family are making the best decision for yourselves as a family.
Thank you for watching this, and we appreciate your patience and your communication through this process as well.